Okay, hi, hello. I'm Jade, and we're gonna watch an old DomiNews episode titled "The Girls of the Domino Community." If you don't know, DomiNews was like an old podcast style series hosted by Stick Trick Domino Dude and Jack of All Spades 98. It's been discontinued for a while, as Jack of All Spades 98 still does podcast stuff in the form of making connections, and Michael, I'm not sure what he does now, but I wanted to kind of record me watching this video because I haven't seen this video in ages, and I am a trans woman, if you cannot tell by the flag in the background and everything, but thought it'd be really interesting to rewatch this video because I definitely haven't seen it since I transitioned or in a very long time, and it's something that is might provide some really interesting insight on the relationship between like chain reactions and gender, because like gender dynamics, because this is kind of like the only piece of media to ever like dive into that, and I think it's something that's very interesting to me, especially. Now, I don't think this video is going to be like that trans inclusive from what I remember. I do remember a few things from it, but it's especially interesting to dive into this like from a trans perspective, because there's a common pattern between people like trans women figuring out that they're trans, like trans women in the Domino community, and them like fucking like stop building, like quitting, right? Like the most extreme example is like Allison Drake, right? How she was like basically started over her entire Machine series and then was like, yeah, I might just delete everything, because right, it like, and it sounds unreasonable, but it's also like, well, yeah, it's stuff that reminds you of your past, and that's really hard to deal with. There's also Lay Domino 16. She seems like she still builds. But she hasn't posted anything on her channel in like a year, it seems like. And then there's me, of course, who like I figured out like trans stuff, and then it's just like, well, I don't know, I don't want to do this art form anymore. It's too masculine in my mind. And this video is, I think it's, from what I remember, the two things that I remember from it are like Michael being, one, confused that there weren't more girls in the Domino community, because to him, he's like, ooh, it's like more of like he thinks of it in like a really artistic way, like the colors of it. It seems like it would be something that would appeal to like more feminine like art standards, right? Like the design aspect of it and how pretty it is a lot of the time, right? And then there's also the other thing I remember is Michael telling to Hevish5 and Domino Erdman, who are the two women domino builders featured in this video, that they're like his favorite builders, and it's like that's probably something to do with like a feminine outlook on the art form, which I think is very interesting. Anyways, we should actually watch it and see what we find in it. So let's go ahead.
Okay, what be up, Domino fans? My name is Stick Trick Domino Dude.
And I'm Jack of All Spades 98, and welcome to episode 7 of
I'm Generals Based on Heat. Thank you, captions. Jack of All Spades 98.
DomiNews, the official podcast of the Domino community. Trademarked.
Right,
All
that
right.
makes sense.
So with us today, we have the two best and most active female members of the Domino community.
Ooh, they're the best. Get Wrecked. Actually, I don't know who else was there. Allison Drake. They didn't know Allison Drake was.
Hevish5 and Domino Erdman. So introduce yourselves, guys. Although I just kind of did.
Hi, I'm Hevish5. You might know me in the Domino community.
Yeah,
Probably.
that works. Okay.
I would hope people would know you.
Probably, if you watch the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
And I'm Domino Erdmann, and it's an honor to be on the show today, and I'm looking forward to a great episode.
Thank you two very much for coming.
All right, so
Thanks for having
so
us.
the focus of this episode is talking about, you know, the fact that these are really the only two female builders in the Domino community and kind of everyone's views on that.
So let's start out with the obvious question that we're all thinking in our heads. Why do we think that there are so few female domino builders?
Why? Donor builders. Donor builders.
I think dominoes is kind of like a hobby that's kind of like Legos, and you know, people associate boys with like building things and
Ooh,
Legos,
shit.
so that's kind of in that category. But it's just not really like advertised as much as it should be to girls, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely kind of I don't know, it's one of those things that's like, it falls under the whole engineering thing. There's that whole stereotype around like, yeah, you know, it's kind of weird. It doesn't make any sense, but that's
A lot of gender stuff does not make any sense, yeah. It's a common pattern.
the kind of the stereotype around that. So I guess it makes sense why there are so few, but
Yeah.
I guess,
I agree with Lily. The Domino is really not so popular in television or something. You know, a few years ago there was a Domino Day here in Europe, but now you just find Domino when you type in Domino on YouTube, and I also don't understand why there are so few female builders, because when I have some friends with me, they love to build dominoes, but I don't know why they don't make a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's interesting. It seems like everyone here is like kind of equally mystified about like the lack of women building dominoes, which is cool. No one has like a really like, oh, I know why. It's everyone's like, the fuck? Why is this a thing?
Yeah, one thing I want to mention is the exact percentage of how many builders in the community, at least on YouTube, are female. Now, this number is not exaggerated at all. I'm pretty sure that all in all on YouTube, there have only been 4. Just 4.
Yeah.
And this is out of about 500 domino builders. I'm excluding machine builders from this. So, about...
Yeah, fuck machine builders. They don't count. I get this is before the whole hybrid era, but it's kind of funny. Sorry.
99% of the builders on YouTube are men.
and keep in mind, even if we did include machine builders, I don't think the total would go up at all, because I'm not aware of any anyway.
Yeah, me
So-
neither.
Yeah, same.
That's also kind of an interesting point, just something to think about as well. Okay, so first question, I guess, or the second question, depending on if you count that first one, is were you aware of the fact that you were one of the only female domino builders when you first started out? Like when you first started your YouTube channel, first started building dominoes, and first like started, you know, doing it as a hobby, were you aware that it was like an unusual thing for you?
No, definitely not. When I started Dominoes in 2009, I didn't have a YouTube channel, but I thought that it would be more girls than boys. I don't know why, but I thought that it was just a little bit creative and it was more for girls. But I didn't knew that, and I think when I started my YouTube channel and I started subscribing to everyone, I finally realized that there was just one girl, and at that time we didn't even know that Lily, you were a girl, so that was kind of...
Oh yeah, I forgot the whole aspect of like Lily like was like basically like, I don't want to say closeted because that's like specifically for queer people, but like basically like didn't reveal anything about herself for 6 years, and then like in her Draw My Life video was just like, yes people, I am a girl. And like I wonder, like I don't know, like how did that feel like to, because like everyone in the comments was just like, wow, this guy or this man is like very skilled at this, right? Like it's and like that would make me very uncomfortable personally. So I find it very interesting that Lily would put up with that for such a long time. Yeah, and also interesting that Domino Erdmann is like, she's in it, like she thinks that there would have been more girls than boys. For me, it's like, I guess something about like watching Domino videos is like, oh, it seems like a very like kind of artistic thing, but there's something about like the material of it and how, I don't know, it's like there's something like dominoes are like, it's a very like hard and rough material, whereas I feel like it's more kind of generally like stereotypically feminine to like use softer material in art. I don't know if that makes sense, but like dominoes are so rigid, right, in their form. I wonder if that is related in any sense. Maybe it's nonsensical, but so is a lot of gender stuff. So let's keep watching.
Surprise for me.
So when I first started building, I think I did know that I was one of the few girls that did dominoes, and that's pretty much because I watched pretty much every single domino video from like 2007 to 2008. So I already knew a lot of the builders. I knew that they were guys, and that didn't really matter to me. I just wanted to try dominoes too.
Lily's a trooper. She doesn't give a fuck. Sorry. Okay.
One thing I'd like to touch on what Alexandra said is she thinks that domino building is more of a girl's hobby, and to be honest, I agree completely. They say it's more so sciencey, so over the top, complete mind stuff. What am I saying? I believe it's more of a creative building type thing.
Definitely.
Like there's no
totally
directions. It's all, once you learn the techniques, it's all up to you to create something beautiful. And
yeah, it's not like machines. That's one of the major differences between the two. Is machines is really a lot of engineering, a lot of physics stuff. But with dominoes, I mean, obviously there is parts of that. It is a physics art, but at the same time, it's mostly creative. So it kind of does surprise me. Like, not to put stereotypes on girls or anything, but like you typically associate more creative, like art with girls rather than boys. So it is kind of it's weird. It's kind of like when you cross engineering and physics with art, and you'd think there would be like an equal mix, but there just isn't. It's very weird.
It could be something about like the process of it, because there's something about I guess both the time consumingness of dominoes and then also like how niche it is, that there's not as many opportunities to socialize when you're making domino stuff. And I feel like in like more feminine culture and like girl culture, it's like there's definitely more pressure on people to do things, for women to be very social and outgoing with each other. Whereas domino building is like, it's kind of a very reserved thing where you're like think of like just building like one pyramid for days in like an attic, right? I don't know. And then maybe it's also, I had something else on my mind, but I forgot. I'm not sure. No. I wanted to say like maybe there's something so destructive about domino building that maybe it's like the toppling is like more like crashing stuff down. It's like a like masculine kind of like release kind of catharsis thing. I don't know. I'm making shots in the dark, but yeah. I mean, like, think of like femininity is like more associated historically with like being like quiet and small, and like a fall down is like anything but that, I don't know. Guessing.
I totally agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Not endorsing any of these stereotypes, by the way. It's just want to make that clear. Giving my own insight on what things might be.
So since we're talking about that, do we see any real differences between the way that so far the female domino builders and the male domino builders have been building, though? I mean, I can't really sense a pattern because there's so many of us, but...
I don't think there is, really. I mean...
I don't either. I really don't, because, like, everyone would have known that you were a girl if there was an obvious difference in style, right?
That's fair.
So, like, it wouldn't have been so surprising, you know, like, oh my gosh, and everyone wouldn't have assumed that you were a guy, which is another point we'll talk about too. Everyone wouldn't have assumed that if it was like an obvious style difference. So it's just, you know, from a stylistic point, there's really not a difference.
I think
it's kind of weird.
everyone has their own different style. So, like,
True.
even if guys have, like, two different distinct styles, it wouldn't matter anyways, because everyone builds dominoes differently.
Yes.
Right.
Based.
Right. And there's not much of a, you know, there are only like two of you, right? And there's like so many of us. So like, also touching on what you said about everyone has their own different style, but also like there isn't enough of a sample field for females to be able to like say this is the distinctive style of what guys do, and then this is what, you know, females do more often, and this is what guys do, you know. So there's not really anything to say because the sample size is so small, if that makes sense.
Well, that's true, but one other thing I'd like to say is that I do see a little bit of a difference that maybe, I don't know, maybe so far with the two girls that have been in the community, they've gone with American style of building. And
I totally forgot there was like an American and European distinction for like years. I completely blanked that out of my mind. It's very funny where it's like American is like more risky and like European is like domino day shit, right? It's very funny that it's like stereotyped by like nationality. There's definitely a strange patriarchal element to that, but okay, let's keep watching.
to quite an extreme amount of creativity, and I'm being honest right now, you two are my favorite domino builders out there.
Thank you.
So, who knows, maybe there is a difference, but we don't know yet.
Yeah.
I think IMO, in my opinion, Lily and Alexandra's style of freestyling projects is there's something like so blooming about the way that they make freestyle projects, at least at the time of this video, in like 2015, 2016. Like they're really thinking about colors in their freestyle stuff more than like tricks, and it makes for just like a prettier project. Yeah, that would be like my main thing. But Lily and Alexandra also do a lot of themed projects. But yeah, I'm not sure. Interesting, very interesting. Domino Girl also exists. She definitely has like a very distinct color style, even if it is kind of just like rainbows all the time. It's still, you know, you can still look at a Domino Girl video and be like, oh yeah, that's a Domino Girl video. Yeah, I guess, yeah. There tends to be a more of a focus on stylistic kind of building and really like honing down a more visual style than like being, at least in the freestyle world. Maybe I'm nonsense. I haven't watched Domino videos in a while, but I'm kind of making assumptions about a lot of things, so whatever. Okay.
I don't know, maybe girls try to do more like not just domino videos, so like domino rally or domino screening, but like my underwater video or Lily's Draw My Life. So try to make something different with dominoes. Maybe that's a little different. But
I think that kind of factors in with the creativity as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I've been trying to branch out from just typical domino videos and do like my Draw My Life, for example, and then question and answers video, and just like behind the scenes on how I make everything. And that's something I don't see a lot of on other channels.
Yeah, so maybe there's definitely just the aspect of like growing up as a feminine passing person definitely gives you a different outlook on things, and like the way that Alexandra and Lily were like talking about like making different kinds of videos, definitely like ties into that, having a unique experience within this community and being like, my experience of the world is different, so I'm gonna bring that out in my videos.
Yeah. So we mentioned this we kind of talked about this a little bit before about when we were talking about is there a distinctive difference, and I mentioned that it wouldn't have been so surprising if everyone didn't assume that you were a guy. So I guess the question here is why? Why would everyone assume that if you are an anonymous domino builder that you are automatically a guy? It's just kind of a subconscious decision. Because I can say for a fact that this was me as well. And it's just, why, I guess?
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
This is just true in a lot of cases. Like, it's very, like, outdated gender stuff where it's just, like, male is, like, the standard, and then female is not. It's not just a Domino community thing, for sure, but that it just comes in from other parts of life, and, the fact that everyone in the community, basically, like most people in the community were male, it definitely just makes people, it accentuates that assumption further. I always personally go with they if I don't know someone's gender, even if it might be obvious, but or I ask, right? And if there's no answer, then I'll just use they.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, go ahead.
It's wild that people just were like, Lily is a guy automatically for 6 years instead of just one person asking her and being like, hey, what are your pronouns? It's mind-boggling, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a guess, but maybe they saw some Flippy Cat or some other boys who show their face in a video or their back, and you can see that they are boys, and so you associate everyone with boys. But that's kind of guess.
That's true.
That is a little bit true.
Yes.
But one other thing I'd like to
It's
touch
weird-
on,
it's
it's
weird
not
though-
just... I'll go, I suppose.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Another
You
thing
were
I'd
saying
like
the
to
exact same thing.
Another thing I'd like to touch on a little bit, it's not just builders who assume. I mean, I can sort of understand that because they get to know a bunch of builders and they see that it's basically all guys, so they logically assume that most builders are guys. But what about the public, who's never seen a Domino video, ever?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lily has thousands of subscribers who...
That's what I mean by like it's not just a Domino community thing. It carries in from all areas of life or in society.
Never seen
Hundreds of
anyone
thousands.
else, but they
Yeah.
all just assumed it was a guy. Well, a few figured out that she was a girl because tiny hands for some reason, but that applies to me too.
What? They figured it out from tiny hands. Holy shit. Also, yeah, Queen Michael. Let's go.
So
It applies to so many people in the community.
true.
Look at Muck Muck. Muck Muck's got tiny hands too. They don't even have fingers.
Yeah, people just assume that I'm a guy because dominoes and building is just kind of like a guy stereotypical thing. I don't really know. I don't know.
Well, and this applies to
This whole video is just them being like utterly mystified. It's amazing to watch.
Domino Airman over here as well. The fact that at the end of the word is man, which obviously doesn't mean man, but like people obviously would assume,
Force masculinizing meerkats. Amazing.
that might be why, because you're fairly anonymous too. Like, I mean, you've shown your face in your videos before, but it's not like to the extent of like talking to the camera a whole lot, or doing stuff like what we're doing here with actual face cam and all that. So I mean, you're fairly anonymous. So I think for a lot of people, and I think maybe me included, before I knew, we assumed man meant boy. So
I thought that too.
It's also like I don't know. It's interesting, like the tendencies for feminine builders to be more anonymous, because it's like the anonymity in the Domino community. When people do it, it's typically because of like internet safety, right? And women, like, it applies to everyone. There's a lot of kids in the Domino community that would definitely be susceptible to that. Like, I remember Domino Person 5 said that his parents were very particular about that, but his safety on the internet and him being like public, so he never really showed his face on his own channel, but women especially are very vulnerable to that kind of thing, so it, like, their safety in a community especially full of just men, it's like safer to be like quiet about it.
Can I lie?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's because it's a German word for meerkat, but
Yep. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, some people don't speak German, so.
Yeah.
Some people don't speak German. What? Who would have guessed? Holy fuck. Everyone should speak German right now.
So every German understands my YouTube channel name, but I can understand that you think that I was a guy because of the man.
That's also an interesting dynamic of like touching back into like the like Americanizing and like gender. I know it's kind of a coincidence in this case, but it definitely is like a thing in like Western cultures to be like force masking stuff.
Yeah. Right, so I think it's time to take a break from this conversation. It's getting really deep, by the way.
Nice one. Good, Michael.
And we can move on to the question of the day. This one is from basically my favorite viewer ever, Vibhanshulbisht.
Holy shit, Vibhanshulbisht, the most based person ever.
He's, yeah.
The question is...
the greatest comments of all time.
Exactly.
You're really good.
Can Domino... the English...
I might skip over this part or... Okay. This is back to the female, male, gender conversation.
So I guess this question is, like, we're trying to get at a specific thing there. Here, we couldn't really figure out the best way to word the question. We're not really asking, like, would you like more female Domino members? Because that would be...
Dude, just get everyone to be trans based.
Obviously, yes. Just for the sake of having more members in and of itself. So the question really is, do you think there are enough? Do you feel like females are underrepresented? Do you think there need to be more?
I definitely think that there should be more, because there's only like technically 2 active ones in the Domino community, and compared to like the hundreds and hundreds of male Domino builders, that's a very low percentage. So it would be great to have more females just getting into dominoes, because there's not a lot of them, and it's a fun hobby. Like, anyone can enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think, specifically for Hevish 5, do you think that you would have gained more popularity if you had remained anonymous? Or do you think that you wouldn't be as popular as you are now if you, like, revealed yourself earlier?
I think that showing my face did help my channel a little bit, because I've been anonymous for years and years, and when I finally showed my face, people were like, wow, she's a girl, and you know, they started like watching my videos and like actually trying to get to know me, and that's a really cool...
It's fucking guys getting up all in your business. It's like, oh, girl, Domino builder.
Cool thing, because the viewers get to know the creator.
I'm kidding, of course. Most people are not gonna be like that.
Finally, so then they want to watch more of that creator.
I think that's a big part of it too. I think this is kind of like a trend in the Domino community, that channels that, you know, actually have a personality tend to do a little bit better than those who are anonymous.
Yes, definitely.
Obviously, the exception to the rule was...
And girls just have better personalities. Got them. Destroyed.
You know, Hevish 5 before Draw My Life. But for the most part, I'd say, you know, channels that talk to the camera and, you know, channels that, you know, have an audience who knows who they are tend to do a lot better.
That's why vloggers have like so many like super like fans, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it lets people like really like feel like they're interacting with like humans, and like that's what we want. Yeah, especially in like the like kind of the social pressures of like of more feminine culture. It's like feeling like you're interacting with like a person is like it's better, right?
Yeah.
Because they actually get to know
Yeah.
their viewers.
Yeah. It would make no sense if there was an anonymous vlog channel. So,
Thank you, Lyle.
it'd be kind of weird.
All right. So last question. Now this is the
It's a
important
good quote. It's a good. Someone should write that down.
one, and I really hope you can answer this well. What do you want to say to all the girls out there? Say, come
Oh my
and build
gosh.
dominoes with us.
Our mothers.
If
That's
you're
good.
a girl and you want to build dominoes, totally go for it. There's nothing stopping you. Don't be overwhelmed by the hundreds of other male domino builders on YouTube, because look at me, like I've gotten so far with dominoes, and nobody knew that I was a girl until like last year, and that just shows you like anyone can do dominoes, anyone can get views, and just do it and have fun. It doesn't really matter if you're a boy or a girl, but just get into it if you're definitely interested.
Yeah, and if you are afraid, maybe because you can edit videos or some other film, there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube that will teach you and show you how to do that, and just try it out, and maybe some other domino builders can help you.
Yeah, definitely, we will. We will definitely help. Everyone in the community is super nice, so
Yeah,
if
we
there-
welcome
if there's
anyone
anyone
else
out there.
that'll come in.
Yes.
Aww. I miss when the community was like so loving and like so it felt like so interconnected. Like it was like this is like the nicest community in the world. I wouldn't say that anymore. It feels like very disconnected, but yeah, interesting.
Regardless of gender, really, but specifically to the females out there, go ahead, try it out. It's
All right, folks, that's all we have for you today.
Okay, yeah, based episode, kind of. I don't know. I think that's really interesting to watch, and it's really cool that Alexandra and Lily are both like so comfortable in their skin doing what they're doing, and like it's interesting for me because I don't feel the same really. Like when I was like a few years ago, I would have really like had a lot of fun with dominoes, and now there's something repulsive about it, like specifically with all of my gender stuff, and I'm still trying to figure that out, but it's definitely a me thing is what this video shows, because Lily and Alexandra clearly both love it, and they're able to use it as a means of expression and a means of connecting with others in the community, and I think that's a really wonderful thing if people can figure that out. I just wish a lot of the boys in the community were just like more aware, and based on Dick Trick Domino Dude and Jackball Space 98 for being that aware and making this episode. I think that's a very good thing. It would be really interesting to see like the trans perspective on it, because right, like I said, there's a really strong correlation between people figuring out they're trans and stopping building dominoes because they don't like, there's something about it that's unrelatable anymore. But if dominoes growing up was like a part of your conception, or like conception of reality, just like your childhood, like Lily started building when she was 10, and she was or like she identified as a girl when she started, it feels like the baseline of that is engraved in your femininity, and that for me is like it's a hindrance, but for them it's a means of expression of that femininity, which I think is really cool. So maybe if I got into dominoes now, then I would still be able to look at it with a fresh eye and not be like, oh fuck, this is a boys thing, and feel really uncomfortable. But I'm kind of rambling, so I'm gonna end this video, and also my battery is out and I have no storage left. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching me watch this video, and hope you have a great day, and trans rights. That's it. And women's rights, obviously. Okay, see you.